here to have a, here to have a lot of fun. Here to have a, here to have a, here to have a lot of fun.
Oh yes. Feel it. It's that time. Yet again. PoGokeRo Pirate Broadcast. Oh yes. Where's it at? There it is. What up, G? Okay, turn on the music a little bit. Ooh. Alright. Sweet. Chillin'. I'm just here, man. I'm here. Oh, I'm glad you're here with me. Alright. So, here I am in my Minecraft world. We can look at the patterns of light and dark. And in the dark, the monsters spawn. The monsters spawn in the dark. Yeah, we gotta work on that. So I can like kill them with a bow. I can kill them with a sword. I can let the sun come out and then kill them. Let me turn this down. It's hard. It probably sounds good, but I can't concentrate enough to talk. Okay. So yeah, things are different now, huh? But yet they're not. Things are always the same as they always were. It's just that the paint came off a little bit more. There's a whole bunch of people who've been screaming at you, saying "Ah!" and you didn't believe it because like the Matrix looked good. But yeah, Donald was acquitted. Donald was acquitted. The Republicans admitted that Donald broke the law, or that he had done wrongdoing, but they didn't think it was impeachable. So, what did Donald do again? He stole taxpayer money in order to extort an ally of the United States while they were at war with Russia. Like, hey, I can't even concentrate. I need something more generic. These are cool beats, but I can't handle it. I would have to flow over them, and like I can't. I got a story to tell. Oh, here, we'll just do it. No music. I can handle it better. Okay. So yeah, what did Donald do? Donald stole U.S. money, U.S. tax money, that was intended for our allies, and used it to extort the ally of the United States while it was under attack from Russia. So remember, Russia attacked us, the United States, in 2016, and they continue to attack us. And the funny thing is that I go out there and I find people who are still on board with Donald. And it's like they don't understand that Donald is on board with Putin. And so I found a video. I think this video, if you give me 2 minutes of your time, this video will show to you how Donald is not an ally of the United States. Donald is not on Team America. He is not on Team America. Let me show you this clip. Let me show you this clip.
For each president, President Trump, you first. Just now, President Putin denied having anything to do with the election interference in 2016. Every U.S. intelligence agency has concluded that Russia did. My first question for you, sir, is who do you believe? My second question is, would you now, with the whole world watching, tell President Putin, would you denounce what happened in 2016, and would you warn him to never do it again?
So let me just say that we have two thoughts. You have groups that are wondering why the FBI never took the server. Why haven't they taken the server? Why was the FBI told to leave the office of the Democratic National Committee? I've been wondering that. I've been asking that for months and months, and I've been tweeting it out and calling it out on social media. Where is the server? I want to know, where is the server, and what is the server saying? With that being said, all I can do is ask the question. My people came to me, Dan Coates came to me, and some others. They said they think it's Russia. I have President Putin. He just said it's not Russia. I will say this. I don't see any reason why it would be, but I really do want to see the server. But I have confidence in both parties. I really believe that this will probably go on for a while, but I don't think it can go on without finding out what happened to the server. What happened to the servers
Fuck the
of
servers.
the Pakistani gentlemen?
What the
that
fuck are you
worked on the
talking about?
DNC? Where are those servers? They're missing.
What?
Where are they?
Fuck you.
What happened to Hillary Clinton's emails? 33,000
Fuck your emails.
gone, just gone. I think in Russia they wouldn't be gone so easily. I think it's
Fuck
a
Russia.
disgrace that we can't get Hillary Clinton's 33,000
The fuck did Hillary
emails.
Clinton have to
I
do with
great
this?
confidence in my intelligence people, but
But?
I will tell you that President Putin was extremely strong and powerful
Oh.
in his denial today. And
Must
what
have
he
extorted
did is
you.
an incredible offer. He offered to have the people working on the case come and work with their investigators with respect to the 12 people. I think that's an incredible offer. Okay, thank you.
So, right there, in front of the world, he was asked point blank, "What side are you on, the United States or on Russia?" And Trump, first he tried to dodge the question by talking about Hillary Clinton's emails. He just spouted, like, look at him, he's spouting nonsense. And then, when it finally came down to it, he said, yeah, all my people came to me and said Russia did it, but Putin is really strong and powerful, and he denied it, so I'm going to go with Russia. There it is, dudes. There it is. That has never ended. That never ended. You think that was the end of it? That was the only thing Putin got? It never ended. So I want to go into what Russia is doing to us, the United States. They're waging an information war, where what that means is that they pollute the information stream so that the information you get is not true. And so then the way you look at reality, it changes the way you look at reality. I mean, when things are actually one way, but it's like how an optical illusion can trick you into seeing one thing, but really it's something else. Like, there's so many different optical illusions, like the growing people and the shrinking people. I mean, I should have brought more stuff, but I'm not here to do this. I'm here to, like, talk. Ooh, I should hang out with the kids so they can grow up. Hee. The kids gotta grow up. Okay. So, part of this information war is to plant narratives to cover up what Russia is doing. I mean, that's like the trick. The analog version of it is using smokescreen. The enemy will throw a bunch of smoke in front of your vision so you can't see what they're doing behind it. So they can send a little tiny force out this way that peeks past the smoke, and while the main force goes this way. And then, so if you're looking and you see the little tiny force going and the smoke is there, you're not going to see the rest of the main force go the opposite direction. So you're going to see this and then relay bad information back to command. Command is going to send out forces disproportionate to the actual threat level. And then the enemy then strikes you from where you're not looking, and you're out of position because you sent all your stuff over here. That's smokescreen. That's what disinformation is doing. That's what the Russians are doing to the United States. I mean, it was in the Mueller report, the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, like all the Americans are telling you this. The only ones telling, the only ones telling you it's not this is politicians, certain politicians, Republican politicians, and certain media companies. So, okay, I mean, but if you look at the professionals who are actually in government and actually like doing this stuff and looking at this stuff, here, let's look at what Dr. Fiona Hill has to say. Let me pull this up. Right there.
Some of you on this committee appear to believe that Russia and its security services did not conduct a campaign against our country, and that perhaps, somehow, for some reason, Ukraine did. This is a fictional narrative that has been perpetrated and propagated by the Russian security services themselves. The unfortunate truth is that Russia was the foreign power that systematically attacked our democratic institutions in 2016. In the course of this investigation, I would ask that you please not promote politically driven falsehoods that so clearly advance Russian interests. As Republicans and Democrats have agreed for decades, Ukraine is a valued partner of the United States.
Yep.
And it plays an important role in our national security. And as I told the committee last month, I refuse to be part of an effort to legitimize an alternate narrative that the Ukrainian government is a US adversary and that Ukraine, not Russia, attacked us in 2016. These fictions are harmful even if they're deployed for purely domestic political purposes. When we are consumed by partisan rancor, we cannot combat these external forces as they seek to divide us against each other, degrade our institutions, and destroy the faith of the American people in our democracy.
So, Mitt Romney recognized early on that Russia was the enemy, and a bunch of people made fun of him about that. Yep, I was one of them. But it turned out Mitt Romney was right. And Russia was the #1 threat, just not in the way we all thought they were. So like, even I was like this. Back then, I didn't even conceive of an information war. To me, war was tanks and planes and nukes and missiles and combat troops and stuff like that. But what war turned out to actually be is in information. Because, so it's like a disruptor beam, right? If you have your stuff set up in the right way, and they shoot disinformation into your system, then your system breaks down. Like, it gets disrupted, and it just starts falling apart. And if it keeps going through and putting in bad information, eventually the whole thing's going to collapse, and it's going to break and not function anymore. It's like a disruptor beam, for real. How did you pop out? Is there not enough? I have to make this bigger? Like, how did you pop out, dude? You're on your own, buddy. Because, like, I can't save you. You're on your own. I mean, I'm just going to hang out here. There's a village over there. Go hang out at the village. At the iron farm. Yeah, okay, well, I'm going to go over here. This place is nice and safe. Until I finish the villager hall over there. But it may not even matter because there's a new update that's so amazing that I have no choice but to make a new world for it. I mean, I guess I could use this old world and go from there. That might be actually easier. But I don't know if they're going to do the same update for Bedrock that they're doing for... Oh, no. I ruined the crops. Okay. So what Dr. Hill was talking about was this information warfare. Russia found out that it doesn't, I mean, it can't compete with the United States or the EU in terms of raw military power, because Russia can't project its power. It can't leave Russia. It can only go around Russia. It doesn't have enough. Yeah, it can't project its power. Uh, um, and Russia's too corrupt internally to grow its economy any, very much bigger, because it's so corrupt. Like, all the money gets funneled off. And, like, yeah, there's no freedom there, so they can't grow. So what they can do, though, since they can't grow up to be as big as everyone else, what they do is they knock down the other people. So how do you knock them down? You break up their internal structure. So they use this against South Ossetia, or against Georgia, to make South Ossetia, I guess. I don't even know. But I know they use it against Ukraine, and they use it against the UK and the United States. The way it manifested in the UK was Brexit, and it worked because the forces set into motion because of Brexit are going to tear apart the UK. The Scotland is going to leave the Union and rejoin the EU. North Ireland is going to reunify, or leave England and reunify with Ireland so it can join the EU. And so it's gonna be just England and Wales by themselves. And the people are tricked. Well, part of, like, the nice way of looking at it is that, yeah, the people were tricked. They were tricked into voting for this, thinking they would save a bunch of money, when actually they're going to lose a bunch of money, because it's going to become, they're going to get raided, basically. But the racist side of it was that, oh yeah, we're protecting England's purity or something, their culture, like, I don't know. So in other words, they wanted to keep it majority white. So that was a big reason to vote for Brexit, because then you have better control over your immigration, I guess. The EU, like, required you to have open borders with other EU members, and and a lot of immigrants, once they got into the EU, went to England, which I would think, awesome. Immigration is great. Immigration is awesome. You want immigration, but they're like, no, we don't want it. So yeah. But that was put into motion and helped by the disinformation warfare of Russia. Now, when I say Russia, I don't mean the people of Russia. People of Russia are great. They're awesome. The people are great. It's the corruption. It's the oligarchs, the government, because there's no difference between the oligarchy and the government and the mafia. It's all the same thing when you look at Russia. Russia is what happens to a country when there is no rule of law. When the oligarchs are above the law, higher than the law, they don't have to listen. The law is only for low people, and the oligarch can do whatever they want. When that happens, you don't really have justice anymore. You don't have justice anymore, because the oligarchs don't have to pay attention to justice. They can totally disregard justice, well, or so they think. Like, yeah, the oligarch has no concern for justice, isn't bound by justice. So that means injustice is what rules, and you can't grow under injustice. You can't do it. You can't do it. So because of the lawlessness of Russia, the people aren't growing. The people suffer. The people of Russia suffer. but also Russia could use this. It has these oligarchs, because they're not bound by justice. They're totally unjust. The only thing that rules them is self-preservation and greed. So they have no problem whatsoever lying, spreading disinformation to further their own agenda. So yeah, they shot this disinformation ray, disintegration ray into the EU, or into the UK, and it worked. They failed their saving throw. And then Russia, or the Russian government, shot its disintegration ray into the United States. Now, let's go look at the United States. Now, already in the United States, already you have this cleave between the Confederates and the Unionists. The Unionists are like pledge their loyalty to the Constitution, and puts the Constitution as the highest law in the land. The Confederacy does not accept the Constitution, does not accept the dictates of the Constitution, does not put the Constitution as the highest law in the land. The Confederates have their own hierarchy. It's a divine hierarchy. So it's God's order, not and the Constitution is created by men. So to the Confederate, the Constitution is lower than the divine law, that the hierarchy that they want to implement. Now, the divine hierarchy, according to them, these Confederates, is that you got God, and under God you have white man, and under white man you have white women, and under white women you have all the minorities, and then you have all the animals, and sometimes the two are a little bit the same, and because they're not white. So these two groups fought a civil war, and the Unionists won the war militarily, and it placed troops inside of the conquered Confederate territories and stationed its troops. However, the Confederates staged a coup against the Unionist government and put into place one of their own people, Andrew Johnson. And Andrew Johnson protected the Confederate power structure. So that even though the North won militarily, the Northern troops were under constant insurrection. There was insurrection all the time in the South. And our troops, they know what modern troops, they know what insurrection is. When they go to Iraq or Afghanistan, they know insurrection. Our special forces, they know insurrection in Syria. They know what I'm talking about. Right? It's not a place to hang out if you're occupying force, is what I'm saying. It makes it uncomfortable to hang out if there's an insurrection while you're hanging out, occupying. And Andrew Johnson stopped the U.S. Congress from destroying the Southern power structure. So the power structure preserved and moved forward through time. And how do you know this? Because you can see it reflected in how African Americans were disenfranchised and oppressed, straight up oppressed, economically, politically, like in every way possible, oppressed. Like their labor stolen, their freedom taken away. Like, yes. So while the North occupied the South maintained its spirit, I guess you could say it. The Confederacy, not the South, but the Confederacy. The Confederacy maintained its spirit throughout the occupation until eventually the occupation ended. Now, who were the people that staged these insurrection attacks, guerrilla attacks against the occupying Union forces? Well, they covered their faces so that they wouldn't be known. So, and over time, the people who covered their faces, they became known as the Ku Klux Klan, the shock troops of the Confederacy. So yeah, it propagates through time. It propagates through time. Oh man, 1, 2. Oh yeah, no kids, dude. You can't be here, guy. Sorry, I gotta kill you. Yeah, no. Kids only. Sorry. You're taking a bed. All right. Um. Okay, so over time, these forces, the Union forces and the Confederate forces, which are now inside the federal government, because since the power structure didn't go away, that means they maintain control of their government, of their senators and Congress people who went to Congress. So basically, yeah, the Confederates had Congress people. And during the Civil War, the Confederates had no problem allying with Russia, with England, because remember, England didn't care if the South or the North won. It just wanted to make money and to maybe weaken both sides so they could take over again. That's what England wanted. So yeah, it'll work with the Confederacy, sure, and it would have worked too, except the North instituted a blockade around the South, so they couldn't really do it. But yeah, the South was absolutely in no problem working with a foreign power against the United States. Yep. The Confederates did it. They worked with England against the United States during the Civil War. So kind of what's going on now is the crystallization of these two forces moving throughout the United States. Now, with the advent of mass media, what happened was the right wing found out that if they bought a bunch of radio stations in the middle of nowhere, in the rural areas of the United States, they could broadcast continually their propaganda. And if they attacked the school systems within the rural areas, if they attack the school systems, that means the people aren't going to have the tools they need to think critically about information. They'll just accept whatever information they get. So if it's not profitable to run a radio station in the middle of nowhere, so someone has to operate at a loss in order to do this. But they did it, right? And so over time they built up then it started growing into a TV station. That's Fox News. So yeah, it's they created all the infrastructure basically to create a population that was easily malleable through media, through talk radio, and now through Fox. Well, the Russians come along modern day, and they're like, "Oh, this is great! What an awesome! It's built in already. It's already built in. We don't have to do any work whatsoever. All we have to do is hijack what's already here." And that's what the Russians did. That's what Putin did. With Donald Trump, Donald Trump hijacked the Republican Party, and it hijacked the media in the United States, the right-wing media. I wouldn't say hijacked, but they coalesced, because the Confederates, when you get down to it, they're fascists. right? The fascists don't believe in equality, freedom. Their fascists are very, very identity politics oriented. You have to have the right skin, worship the right God, marry the right kind of person at the right time. You can make love only in the right way. You have to have the right kids who go to the right schools. And if you don't have these qualities, then you're stigmatized, oppressed. You're made less than. So that's opposite of what Americans do. Remember what we're about. Remember what America's about. America's about justice and liberty. Liberty. So Americans don't care what you look like, what God you believe in, or if you even believe in a God, or if you believe in many gods. We don't care. Like, we don't care who you love, as long as it's consensual. Consent, magic word, consent. And of age too, because yeah, for sure, that's what I mean. Of age, you can't consent if you're not of age. Okay. Yeah, woo. Yeah, you got to be of age, because there's no consent without age. But yeah, we don't care what you look like. We don't care what you do to yourself, because it's your stuff. It's your body, right? If you want to put tattoos, go ahead. You want to pierce, go ahead. You want to like put implants in, go ahead. You want to be bionic, go ahead. Like, it's your stuff, right? We're still working on that, aren't we? but yeah, freedom, right? As long as you follow the law, which is the high, because we all agree that we want to follow the law. If we all follow the law, you have the freedom to do whatever you want, or within the law. So, and the law, we want to be the closest approximation to truth that we can get, as close as we can get to truth. And so yeah, so everyone's equal. No one's superior. No one's inherently superior to other. There's no inherently superior race. There's no inherently superior method of doing things. Like, it's not inherently superior. Everyone's inherently equal. That's the deal. Everyone's inherently equal. Now, so if you take these two visions, the American vision and the fascist vision, you see they're totally opposite. They cannot compete, or they cannot coexist. They don't work together. You either go this way or you go that way. You can't have both. You cannot have justice and injustice at the same time. You cannot have freedom and slavery at the same time. Now remember, our freedom is a conditioned freedom. Conditioned on our social contract with one another. Like, people want to say it's a piece of paper. Nah, a social contract is the deal you have with your other human beings. I mean, it's a piece of paper too, right? But but it's also the deal you have with your fellow human being. Like, so if you maintain that deal with your fellow human being, then things will be good. And if you don't maintain your deal with your fellow human beings, or your deal is a bad deal, it's unjust, then yeah, you're gonna have a bad time. So, like, yeah, just maintain your humans. Now, there's a problem when you shoot that disinformation ray into your relations with humans, because now your relations are all messed up. There's disinformation. What they're saying, you're not necessarily hearing, and that's bad. You don't want that to happen, because you can't work things out if you don't have good communication with one another. Like, it's in the body too, right? If your body can't send signals throughout itself, then it gets all messed up. All right. So, oh man, the broadest strokes. I'm painting with the broadest strokes here. I can try to like pin it down more. Okay, so we know Team America is saying one thing, and Team Russia is saying a different thing. Now, remember what Team America stands for. We follow the Constitution. We believe in ideals, and we believe in freedom, equality, justice. The oligarchs are exactly opposite. They are above the law. They are the power. They don't care anything about human rights. They don't care at all about equality. In fact, the reason why they do what they do is because they think they're superior to everyone else, when that's not the case. But they're totally opposite. They're totally opposite. So it makes sense that these two groups would be fighting. Okay, now we just saw Donald Trump, who himself is an oligarch, right? He says he's a billionaire, he says. Right? And he's standing up there with Putin, who is the richest man in Russia. He too is an oligarch. He's an oligarch. Because all the oligarchs bow to him. Because if they don't, he'll send his government after them. So these are two oligarchs agreeing with one another that the democracies, the United States, the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the Netherlands, the UK, all our diplomats, our officer, Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, like our military, all those guys are wrong. But Russia is right. That's what this video is saying. So when I say Republicans are Nazis, I'm gonna even put myself in here. Let me see. I got this. Game, image, video capture. Da-da. There we go. So when I say Republicans are Nazis, think of what Nazis are. Nazis are fascists. Fascists are the same thing as what Confederates are. Fascists are the same thing as what oligarchs are. They're all the same thing. They all believe in hierarchy. A strict God-given hierarchy. Well, in the case of oligarchs, yeah, that they think God divine has put them at the top. That's what they believe. So yeah. So the thing is that I can't put a symbol for fascism because it's so general. And so people don't know what you're talking about when you say fascist. They're like, But Nazi, everybody knows what a Nazi is. A Nazi is just a different flavor of fascism. Look behind the Nazis. Look, that's a concentration camp. But PoGokeRo, that's not in Germany. No, viewer. That's a garage somewhere in America, in the United States. And those aren't real children. That's an art exhibit. But it's an art exhibit of something that actually happens in the United States. Except they won't let us see it because they ban the cameras and the media from going in. They cover it up. They block senators from going in, and they cover it up. So who puts children in cages? Who does that? Nazis. What are Nazis? Fascists. Who else are fascists? Republicans. Why are Republicans fascists? Because they're Confederates. Like, do you see the gel here? It's gelling, right? It's gelling. Like, you might see me on the corner, and I might sound all crazy. But if you were talking to a Nazi, you'd be crazy too. More tea, more tea. All right. So we know that Donald Trump is on Team Russia. We know that Donald Trump is on Team Russia. We know that let's see. We know that our own people are saying, okay, we know that Donald Trump colluded with Russia to attack the 2016 election and steal the election for Donald Trump. We know that happened. Check this out.
Director Mueller, the President has repeatedly claimed that your report found there was no obstruction and that it completely and totally exonerated him. But that is not what your report said, is it?
Correct. It is not what the report said.
And now, reading from page 2 of volume 2 of your report that's on the screen, you wrote, quote, "If we had confidence after a thorough investigation of the facts that the President clearly did not commit obstruction of justice, we would so state. Based on the facts and the applicable legal standards, however, we are unable to reach that judgment," close quote. Now, does that say there was no obstruction?
No.
In fact, you were actually unable to conclude the President did not commit obstruction of justice. Is that correct?
Well, we, at the outset, determined that we, when it came to the President's culpability, we needed to go forward only after taking into account the OLC opinion that indicated that a president, a sitting president, cannot be indicted.
So the report did not conclude that he did not commit obstruction of justice. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And what about total exoneration? Did you actually totally exonerate the President?
No.
Okay. We know that his campaign contacted Russia hundreds of times, and then lied about it. So we know that he's working with Russia. Okay, now we're here in 2016. And it turns out now Donald Trump is extorting Ukraine. But for some reason, the only thing the Republicans can talk about is the Biden Burisma. Biden Burisma. The hell are you talking about? Remember what Fiona Hill said. Let's go back to what Fiona Hill said. Where'd she go? Fiona Hill.
Some of you on this committee appear to believe
that
Russia and its security services did not conduct a campaign against our country, and that perhaps, somehow, for some reason, Ukraine did. This is a fictional narrative that is...
Okay, so wait. Before
President Trump.
Too much. Okay, there it is. All right. So let's look at this fictional narrative. All right, here. Put it on that screen. Okay. What do we got here? Okay, so what is the narrative? The narrative is Hunter Biden worked at Burisma, the company in Ukraine, and that he was making money off of this. That's the GOP conspiracy. That's the Republican, that's what they want to look at. Like, oh my God, this happened. Let's look at this. Let's ignore everything else. Let's look at this. Okay, let's look at this. All right. What was going on? Before we even get to Hunter Biden, the way they prove that something's going on is by this clip right here. This is how they excuse Trump from
that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I'm not going to, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid.
All right. So, with that, they want to...
Some of you on this committee...
President Trump.
With that, they want to say that, oh, look, That's quid pro quo. That Biden just did quid pro quo, but see, it's totally different, right? Biden said in front of the cameras, "Go ahead, call the president. Go ahead." It's out in the open. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. So what was he talking about? What was he talking about? Go back to this one. Ping. Okay, so what he's talking about is this guy is the prosecutor that Joe Biden wants fired. Why does Joe Biden want to fire this guy? Because this guy is corrupt. The UK wanted to investigate Burisma. The owner of Burisma is this guy, Nikolai Zalewski. This guy right here. But they wanted to investigate this guy for money laundering. The UK wanted to do it. But this guy here, Victor Shokin, he would not do it because he's corrupt. This guy's corrupt. So who put him into power? It was this guy here, Viktor Yanukovych. This guy was the president of Ukraine at the time, and he is totally corrupt. He is on Team Russia right here from Putin. He works for Putin. So Putin put this guy into power to be president. And this guy put this dude, Shokin, in to be a prosecutor. So all these people are corrupt. They're all corrupt. Joe Biden was telling this story to this guy, Poroshenko, this guy, is a Ukrainian oligarch. He is the finance minister. He used to be the president, and now he's the finance minister, but he's an oligarch. He's a billionaire. He's a billionaire. This guy is a Kremlin puppet. The Kremlin puppet put this corrupt prosecutor in who protected this guy, Nikolai Zalewski. Protected him from the UK money laundering investigation. Now, the reason why Viktor Yanukovych was in power was because Paul Manafort worked his magic and put him into power. So Putin, through Paul Manafort, installed this guy. Joe Biden, on behalf of the United Kingdom, said, hey, finance minister dude, you get rid of this guy so the UK can do a money laundering investigation on this guy. Or we're not going to give you money. Because we're trying to woo the UK or Ukraine away from Russia. So what ended up happening and then it worked, right? They got rid of this guy, and the UK did its investigation and everything else. Okay. What happened to this guy, Viktor Yanukovych? What happened to him? There was massive demonstrations in Ukraine because the Ukraine people recognized that this guy was a puppet of Russia. And they demonstrated for months, during winter, in the capital. Instead of barricades and lit them on fire, they got shot by snipers. Man, by government snipers. Yeah, for real, dude. They don't have guns. Well, maybe they do, but I don't know. It was bad. They were getting wrecked, and they were fighting back. They wouldn't leave. And it finally, this bad guy here, Yanukovych, left. He left office, and he fled. Where did he flee? Where did he go? He went back to Moscow. He's in Moscow now. So this corrupt Ukrainian president who installed a corrupt prosecutor and also installed a corrupt oligarch finance minister protected a corrupt business owner. And Joe Biden kicked this guy out. So the UK could do their money laundering operation. Okay. So then what happens is this guy leaves, and then everything changes. Then Zelensky comes in, And Zelensky, now we got to find out if he's like on our side or not, and that's another long story. But this is the Joe Biden, this is the Hunter Biden conspiracy here. They want people to believe that somehow Hunter Biden is working with the Russians. I think, or not Joe Biden, Hunter Biden is working with the Russians. But that's kind of a stupid idea. Well, it's kind of stupid for him to go make money from his dad's name, because that's what he was doing. He was making money from his dad's name. He's like, yeah, my last name's Biden. I can make money sitting on this board of directors and not do anything. But it was like a trap. The Russians trapped him. They set him up for compromise, or for compromat. And they're good at doing this. They've done it to almost all the Republicans and to Donald Trump himself. Did you see how in that video of Donald Trump, he said, "Oh, Putin was very powerful, very strong." Why would you say that? That's kind of weird. No American president has ever complimented the Russian president like that. That's ridiculous. But yeah, that means Putin has some serious blackmail on Trump. So the Russians are real good at getting blackmail. So yeah, they tricked this dude, Hunter Biden, a dumbass, into sitting on this board of directors to make money and taint his name, basically. As far as I know, there's been no laws broken. No laws broken. The UK wasn't investigating Hunter Biden. The UK was investigating this dude here, the owner of the company. And all these guys, like, this guy's in jail now, Paul Manafort, and these guys are all gone. Because we're trying to get rid of the corruption. These guys represent corruption, and we want to get rid of them. And Donald Trump represents corruption. Okay, so let me find another here in fan view, because it's too much for me to handle. It takes a long time to set all that up. It's better to do it this way. What was I looking for? No, man. See, I should have. Okay, that one here. Open in front view. In front view. All right. So this is Jennifer Cohen. So it says the general sentiment among industry experts on the ground in Ukraine is that Burisma bought two high-profile Americans with no energy experience, brought two high-profile Americans with no energy experience on board in an attempt to gain legitimacy, given Zolevsky's tainted history. The timing is significant. Oh, crap. Biden and Archer officially joined the Burisma board right before the UK investigation that led to the asset freeze was announced. It was Shokin, the Ukrainian prosecutor, who ousted Biden, the EU's supported. Okay, it was Shokin, the Ukraine prosecutor, who's ousted Biden, the EU supported, who then talked to the Burisma investigation by refusing to turn over evidence to the UK. The US correctly called out Shokin for letting Burisma off the hook. So in other words, let me read this to you again, all right? Look at pictures here. So the sentiment among the experts, is that this guy, Zolovchesky, is a corrupt dude. He's a bad dude, and he's running Burisma. And he got two Americans, a guy named Archer and this guy, Biden, to join the board right before the UK did its money laundering investigation into this guy. Right before that, they brought on the board him and another American dude. So, and when this happened, this dude here, Victor Shokin, blocked the UK. I can draw on this, dude. What am I? Okay, so here, the UK clone stamp. I'm gonna add a layer. Okay, size of the clone. Like that. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, the UK. Oh, dude, it's not working. Oh man. All right. Well, I can do this. I don't want to mess with this too much. Oh no, too far. All right. Well, whatever. Okay. So the UK wanted to investigate this guy, but couldn't do it because this guy blocked him. So Biden's like, "Yo, get rid of this dude, or you get no money." And so that's what happened. And then Hunter Biden's like, "Oh, damn, I better leave," and so he left. But yeah, they wanted. But the Republicans working with the Russians want to blame the Ukraine and Biden for all of this. And this is Russian disinformation. This is Russian disinformation. So watch. Look at how the Republicans use Russian disinformation. You're going to watch the Russians, an American, use Russian disinformation.
Was on Joe Biden.
Iowa caucuses, folks. Iowa caucuses
Joe Biden.
are this next Monday
Ukraine.
evening.
The
and
Ukraine
I'm really
conspiracy.
interested to see how this discussion today informs and influences the Iowa caucus voters, those Democratic caucus goers. Will they be supporting Vice President Biden at this point? Not certain about that.
So what she's talking about is the attempt by the Republicans to blame everything on Ukraine and the Bidens and absolve Russia. The Republicans want to say, "Oh yeah, Russia didn't do it. It was the Americans who did it, and Ukraine."
For each president.
So that's what. That's the nature of the conspiracy. That's what they want to say. So I wanted to show you that other thing, that other great image. Stop. There. No, that's the bursting mouth. Dude. There it is. Open with infrared view. Okay, so let's go back to the map, right? So on this map, I don't know if you can see it, the cursor, but there's a line in the middle, and on the right you have the Russians, the oligarchs. These are the people who don't believe in freedom and justice. They believe in power on the right. And on the left, you have the group of people who believe in equality and justice and freedom and the rule of law. So you have to decide, which side do you believe in? Donald Trump is standing with Putin. He says, "Oh yeah, the Americans are wrong." This woman, Senator Ernst, she was repeating Russian propaganda. So she's on Team Putin. She for sure is on Team Putin. I should have just do it like this. Where's Paint? Is it still open? Yeah. Paint. Because you can't see my cursor.
For each president.
Some of you on this committee.
Paint. So then I have to open another one. Recent. No, it's not there. Open. Pick a side. That's the one I want. Okay, yeah, here we go. Okay, So that's Mueller, Robert Mueller up there. All right, let me shrink me a little bit. Okay, so you have to decide which side you're going to be on. There's a dividing line here. I'm going to add a layer. And draw paint with a big brush. 30 is good. All right. So there's a dividing line like around right here. All right, it divides. So you got to pick which side. This side here is fascism. It's lawlessness, no law. It's money. It's all about money. This is Rupert Murdoch. That's Dmitry Firtash, who owns Lev Parnas. Here's Nunes, who's connected to these guys. Here's Donald Trump, who's connected to Putin. That's some proud boy, dumb person. There's Mohammed bin Salman. There's Erdogan from Turkey. So these are all fascists. They don't believe in the rule of law. Now these on the left, these are people for democracy. They believe in ideas. They believe in freedom and justice. These people are on our side. We're Americans. We're the democracies. This is a group of allies here. So you got to pick which side you're going to be on. Now, remember when Donald Trump was talking his smack, he chose Putin. Remember that. That Senator Ernst, she repeated Russian propaganda. So she's over here with Putin. I mean, it's easy to find out which side you're on. Right? It's when you look at this picture, which side do you agree with more? Do you agree with freedom and justice, or do you believe in power and greed? I mean, it's that simple. It's that simple. So I did not even play Minecraft. I haven't done crap in Minecraft. I've been too busy with a bunch of other stuff. Oh, wait a minute. I'll show you what I'm doing. What? Oh. All right. It's very, very simple. It's very simple. All right, I've been gabbing for like an hour. So that was more of a test of how easy it would be for me to transition through videos. It's kind of tough. I want you to protest everywhere. Whenever you, and not it doesn't have to be a big protest or whatever. Little tiny protests work. Just when you're in line, just do a chant. Trump is a traitor. Trump is a traitor. Trump is a traitor. Some kind of chant. Repeat the truth over and over and over again. Just do it. Just see what happens. Okay. Hey, thanks for hanging out. If I don't get sick, I'll I'll keep going. All right. Yeah, thanks for hanging out for my test here. Okay, guys, I will catch you on the next time. Peace. PoGokeRo out.